Yes, good morning, everyone. Welcome for our second demo of supply chain management. Any doubts on the last session, what we have discussed? Anybody would like to talk with me, please? You can unmute yourself and ask for the doubts. Today, we are going to talk about an introduction of Fusion application navigation part, how we have to go through that. And then we'll talk about the documentation. Where do we find the documentation part? Is all we are going to talk about it. Okay. Fine. Let's connect to the applications here. As we discussed in our previous session, Fusion Applications is one of the ERP product, which is cloud ERP product. Oracle is going to maintain the data centers. In the data centers, we'll find servers. In these servers, we'll find the applications. Oracle providing different applications. They are providing Oracle database. They are providing the Oracle NetSuite, EBS, and Apex, OICS, Integration Cloud Services, Oracle Analytics Cloud OAC. In that, Oracle Fusion applications also. Now we are talking about Fusion applications. So whenever client subscribe for this cloud ERP product, then Oracle provide the instance like this. Oracle provide the instance like this. This is a Fusion applications ERP software, and through URL we are connecting to Oracle data center and accessing this product. In this Fusion applications, when we are working, there will be two menus here. One is user menu. Another one is navigator menu. User menu is mainly for performing the setup and maintenance. Nothing but performing all our setups. The moment when we click on this setup and maintenance, we will enter into the environment called FSM environment. FSM stands for Functional Setup Manager. 90% of our work will be here only. Whenever we are working in the project, as a functional consultant, all the setups will be performing here. If we want to perform the setups for procurement module, we'll do it from here. If we want to perform the setups for financials module, we'll do it from here. If we want to perform the setups for order management, nothing but sales, we'll do it from here. Okay. So like this, we will have different offerings. As we discussed, majorly four domains: financials, supply chain management, human capital management, and CRM, customer relationship management. Finance functional consultants are different. Human capital functional consultant are different. Supply chain management functional consultants are different. Okay. So there will be different. Now we are talking about supply chain management over here. So this environment, we call it as a FSM environment, Functional Setup Manager. Once we do the setup, obviously we are supposed to test whether it's working or not. Let's say you configured some buyer approvals. Obviously, you have to create one buyer and then go for create orders and verify whether it's working or not. Right. So once we do the setups, then we are supposed to test. Where we perform the testing, we'll do it from the navigator. So navigator is used to perform the transactions. What is the difference between transactions and setups? Setups we are going to do as a software engineer, as a consultant, as a ERP consultant, either technical or functional. We are going to do the setups, means we are going to configure the product to the client. Then client employees will be using this product. What they do is employees will log into the applications and they will try to perform the transactions. For example, if it is supply chain management, they'll try to create a purchase order and then they'll send this purchase order to supplier through email or fax. Then they will receive the goods from the supplier. Whatever the goods they have received from supplier, that information they will enter in the system and then update in the inventory. And they will raise the invoice, nothing but a bill. Obviously, when you receive the goods from supplier, you are supposed to make the payment. If you want to make the payment, you need a bill, right? Nothing but a supplier invoice. So invoice will be created, validated, accounted, approved. Then you will go for issue the check. Whatever you paid, whatever the bills you received, all this should be accounted. And finally, all these accounts you have to transfer to GL. Okay, so all this comes under the transactions. So transactions will be performed by the end user, means your client employees. Okay, you might have gone for any shopping or any business center. There will be employees who are going to enter the data in the systems, right? Those all will call them as transactions, day-to-day business transactions. They'll be creating, updating, deleting. Generally, delete will not happen. They'll try to disable it. Okay, they'll be performing under. If they face any problem during that, then they'll raise a ticket that we are supposed to solve. We are supposed to check why this is a problem. Let's say someone is trying to create an invoice for a particular supplier. It's not allowing more than 4,000. So for that supplier, it is not allowing more than 4,000. So they cannot rectify that because they are not software engineers, they are end users. So what they'll do is they'll raise a ticket. That's a support project, right? They'll raise a ticket. And then we will go for cross check what is the issue, and we'll verify supplier side, whether buyer is issue, supplier limits and all, and then we'll try to resolve it. Like that, whenever we are working with Fusion applications, as I said, there will be two menus. One is user menu, which we will be using to perform the setup and maintenance, means functional setups. Navigator menu, which is used to perform the transactions, But as a software engineer, we need access for both. We need access for setups as well as we need access for transactions also, because once we do the setups, we are supposed to test it, right? Without testing our setups or configurations, we cannot deliver this to the client, right? Obviously, we are supposed to test with different scenarios. That's what we call it as a test cases. That's what we have to write test cases and prepare it and prepare a document and get approval also from the client and finally deliver this to the client, right? So that's how we will go for working with this here. But when client employees, we call them as transactional users, nothing but end users, they can just perform only transactions. They cannot do the setup. So we don't give the permission to the user. We don't give the permission to the setup and maintenance. I'll show you how the transactional users will be there, how the implementation users will be there. Okay, so I'm going to show you first transactional user. So what are the different types of users we'll find in Fusion applications? One is transactional user, another one is implementation user. Another one is implementation user. So transactional user is nothing but employee user or end user. It means client employees who are going to use this product, here. That's a client employees. Okay. So implementation use nothing but we are working here, software engineer, or we call them as, in ERPs, we don't call it as software engineer or software developer. Mainly we'll call it as a consultant. Okay. We call them as functional consultant or technical consultant. Like that. Okay. So this is about the two different users. I'll show you both how the transactional user looks like and then how the implementation user looks like. And where do we go for it? So transactional user is nothing but indirectly employee. As I said, employee. Employee means definitely you will be working for a company, right? System will ask you which company is working, which branch is working, which department, which job, who is the manager, which position, which location. This all information it will ask, right? So that's why we have to be clear with that. I'm just trying to create an employee here. Go to the task here, manage user. Manage user. Here it is. Manage users. Go to the task here. I'm mentioning that here my username is Sridhar Kumar. Of course, if you give a valid email ID, you will receive it. When we hired this employee, when employee has joined, let's say January 1st, 2023 has joined. What is the username you want to allocate for this employee? Because when employees join in the company, obviously we'll capture their personal information and then we'll allocate an username and password for them. Some companies will maintain their email ID is their mail ID, sorry, their username or their last name dot first name, whatever. So at this point of time, I'm taking it as Sridhar dot Kumar is the username. Sridhar dot Kumar is the username we are going to have. In case if user account is already there, for example, username is already there. If you want to link with the existing user account, you can do that. And I'm mentioning that I need a notification also, email, username and password, and whether he's a employee or contract employee or partner or retired employee, like student worker, we can have different options. I'm just mentioning that he's a permanent employee for our company. Then definitely it will ask you what is your company name, what is your branch name. Business unit is nothing but a branch. Legal employer means company. Right now, I'm taking US1 business unit. But when we are implementing for client, we have to ask our client, what is your company? How many branches you have? Maybe the client can have multiple companies also. For example, Reliance Corporation is there. They have Reliance Industries and Reliance Mobile, Reliance Geo, Reliance Trends, like that. They have different options, right? So here we are going to have the different options, whether one legal employer or multiple legal employer. We'll be talking about that in enterprise structure. At this point of time, I'm taking built-in legal employer, nothing but a company, and business unit, nothing but a branch. And you can also choose for which job you are hiring this employee, for which grade, for which department, location, mail, and who is the manager. If you would like to assign some manager can be assigned here. So I'm mentioning he is the manager for this employee. And if at all you want to give any permissions, nothing but roles can be provided here, otherwise not required. Okay, so we created an user account successfully here. And we mentioned that he's working for US1 legal entity, US1 business unit and all here. Let's go for save and close. Takes a couple of minutes, not more than that time for creation of this. Now it's done successfully here. And now obviously we created username, right? He'll be receiving an email also. This employee will be receiving an email also. We can check that. Takes some time for email delivery. It's okay. We'll see that. Okay. So now we created an user and we also specified an employee here. It is now we are going to reset the password. Go to navigator and tools menu, security console. So security console is the place where we will manage the user information, where we will go for manage the user information as well as the roles information, nothing but access information over here. Let's go to security console here. Now go to the tab here, users tab. Right now, I don't want to create a user because it's already created. Now I just wanted to reset the password, Sridhar.Kumar. That's the username. And who is the manager? Karen Curtis is the manager. And what is the employee number? This, which branch is working? So and so branch. And I just wanted to reset the password. I have reset. This is how we can go for create transactional users. So transactional users are nothing but an employees who are using the product, end users, the client employees. Depends on the employee designation, we will give the access to the application, nothing but a role. As I said, in every enterprise, there will be employees working right from lowest level to highest level, right? So when employees are working in our organization, they'll have some responsibilities to perform day-to-day activities, nothing but roles, we call it, that we have to give. Let's say I just want to give the a role called employee role. Without role also, we can log in. Let's just log in without role also. We have not given any roles to Sridhar. So Sridhar can log in and perform all these activities here, but no roles, right? Now I can see that Mr. Sridhar has connected to the application here, and but he cannot perform any actions because we have not given any roles. Basic information user can access. Now Sridhar can't do setups because we are not given. He's employee, so and he can just access some basic information about the approvals and other things. Then other than that, he cannot do anything here. Right. So now what we are trying to do is we are trying to assign couple of roles to this reader so that he can perform some actions. Right. Let me just log out from here. As an admin, we are supposed to provide the access to this employee. Let's say I would like to give an employee role for this Sridhar. So let me log in. We can log in as an here. 2 instances has been started here. Yes, now Sridhar.Kumar is the user. We have already reset the password. Now we are just trying to give some access to this employee add role. Let's go for add this role, employee role. So employee role is basically to access the self information. And if he is a manager, we will give the manager role. So let's provide the role called line manager. Okay, so line manager is the role. And if you say, I want to give the permission for this employee to perform some transactions, invoices, accounts payable manager. So for every module, there will be a 6 to 7 roles we have to remember. Let's say you are working as a supply chain management consultant, inventory module around 6 to 7 roles, procurement module, order management. We have to be very clear with all these roles, what you can do with that role. And in case if client asks you to customize that role, how to do that. In case if the client asks you to create a new role, yes, we'll do that new one. Then we will go ahead with that creating new one. That's our responsibility. We are going to do it in our training. Okay. So right now I given the access to this employee. Oh, the mail ID is wrong. Yes, no problem. That's why we have not received email, it seems. So employee role, line manager role, accounts payable manager role. 3 roles I have given this access to Mr. Sridhar. So he's going to log in and access those sets. Let me just log out from here.
Chandra, hi Chandra.
Yes.
So into the fusion, role is similar to the responsibility in EBS.
Yes, yes. Yes, yes. In EBS, ERP, we used to call it as responsibilities. Here we call it as roles, but it is not as similar as exactly that. When we go for in-depth, it has got a lot of features. Because Fusion product is completely role-based access control, whereas in EBS also it's a responsibility, but we need to combine with the profiles, providing the data security and all. Here we will have different names: data access sets, ledger sets, and other things we are going to provide here. And as I said, the Fusion is a latest cloud ERP. When we talk about no, EBS is a old ERP. I made one video, the differences between the old ERP, EBS. Instead of calling it as a old ERP, we can call it as on-premises ERP, EBS and Fusion difference. If you search here, I made one video. Yeah. Difference between Oracle Fusion Cloud ERP and Oracle EBS ERP. EBS, which is there in the market right from 1995. It's an on-premises ERP, but most of the clients nowadays are doing, cloud ERPs. They are migrating from EBS to Cloud Fusion ERP, which is the latest one. So the people who are from EBS background, they can just go through this video so that you will find similarities. If you say that I don't have any idea about EBS ERP, you can completely forget about it and learn the Fusion ERP right from the beginning. Don't worry about that. Okay. So here, in case when we are giving the training also, I'll always give that completely Fusion application. When the things comes, I'll just give the comparison and we'll treat that everybody is new to the ERP.
And here in Fusion, what is the hierarchy of the business group? In
Yeah.
EBS, we have business
Yeah.
group.
In
We have
EBS,
ledger.
EBS, we have multi. In this video, I have explained. You can go through because at this point of time, I cannot go through in this demo session. So this video will give the complete, information about the differences between EBS and Fusion.
Okay, thank you.
In fact, we will in our training, of course, we'll be doing that. We call it as enterprise structure. all these legal entities, legislative data groups, and all will be talking. There we used to call it as operating units. Here we call it as business units. Here it is. Yeah. So now Sridhar is one of the employee for the client, and he got the access to the application, and he got the permission to access the self data. This is employee role. Me, my team is a manager. So we given the access, line manager. Payables. We given the payables. He can raise the invoices and the good invoices here, and it can be performed. So we can find here the invoices and payments. But this employee cannot do any setups. He can just create invoice, cancel invoice, end user activities he can perform, add the discount, calculate the tax. Then you are going to do that here. Okay. Now let's go for implementation user. I have shown you how the transactional users looks like here. Means employees, how they can log in and access the product and perform transaction. Now we are talking about implementation users. So where do we create implementation? Implementation user is nothing but an user who will implement the product to the client. So it's almost like admin access. Okay. So we need access to perform all these activities here. Setup and maintenance, FSM access, security console, all this. So if it is transactional user, we'll do it from the FSM. And if it is implementation user, we'll do it from here, security console. Go to the tab users. Add user account. Now this is the place where we'll create user account directly. Save and close. You can search this user, demo one. And now this user wants to do the setups, implementation, both functional as well as the technical part here. So that we will add the implementation roles. Edit. There are two roles which are required. One is IT security manager. So what we have done here is we created an user account, and for this user we given access for implementation roles. So what are the implementation roles here? There are two implementation roles. One is IT security manager. Another one is application implementation consultant. Okay. So these two roles we call it as implementation roles.
And this is for any of the product?
Yes, it may be for finance or supply, any user you can do.
Oh, okay.
Now, demo one user is an implementation user. He is not an employee, or is an implementation user, means a developer. He can log in and do the setups. Let me just log out from here and we'll see that access. Now, demo one is one of the implementation user. He got the access to setup and maintenance. We added two roles for this employee, right? For this user. So, what is that? One is application implementation consultant. Setup and maintenance you are getting means you got the role called application implementation consultant. Application implementation consultant, FSM access. If you need FSM access, you have to have the role called application implementation consultant role. Next, another role, IT security manager. So because of this role, you can access the security console. Navigator, tools menu, security console. So security console is an environment where we will be performing the user management, role management, creation of the API integration. This is all we are going to perform to make sure that the security access will be configured for the users. So whenever we are working in a project as a functional consultant or as a technical consultant, so what we need is we need access for two environments. One is FSM, another one is security console. These two things we have to check. If not, if these two things are not there, we can't do any setups and we cannot perform any, users management or role management and other here it is. We cannot perform that here. So roles, which we call it as implementation roles, two. One is IT security manager, another one is application implementation consultant. These two roles. Okay. So any doubts here in these two, like transactional user as well as implementation user? So we have discussed about the Fusion navigations. Once we connect to the application, how we can go for navigate and what are the two menus we will find. One is user menu, another one is navigator menu. And then about the options here, the implementation rules. Any doubts over here?
So in EBS, like we have multi-org access. Similarly, for transactional user, they can access multiple business units. Hello?
Yeah, your voice is audible. I think SAR side some network issues.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So in EBS, like we have multi-org access, right?
Yeah.
So
Here
similarly,
also we will find.
yeah. Okay.
Whatever the
So
features we have in EBS ERP software, 100% we have here. But names are different, configuration is different, and we have more features here.
Okay, got
Yes,
it.
yes.
Thank you.
Sir, if you have all the information like jobs and business unit, first and foremost, what is your first step, sir, in our in this cloud?
Sorry, come again. I'm not clear with your question.
Actually, you have all the information like job, business unit, department. So, like first and foremost, what is your step?
No,
Uh,
no, those
and
those business unit, legal entity, and other things are those are for testing purpose. Oracle has provided some seeded data. That's not actual data, right? So when client buy this software manually, we are supposed to configure those legal entities, business units, jobs, and other things by defining the setups and all here from the setups and maintenance. So that's a fresh
yeah,
instance client will receive, and we are supposed to configure those.
yes, sir. Like you have all the information, sir. So, like first and foremost, what you are going to be performing? May I know this, sir?
Yeah, that will be doing that in our setups. That's what enterprise structure setup, right? We'll be talking about that in our training. As this is in demo instance, we are just demo session. I'm going to explain you the basic thing of navigation part here.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, fine, guys. Next. So once we get the access to the application, as I said, we will be performing the activities here from the setups and point of view, setup and maintenance. I would like to know whether the client has been subscribed for the supply chain management or financials. Where do we find that? We have to go to actions menu and go to offerings. Here we can find the client has been subscribed or not. Let's say I would like to know whether subscribed for financials or not. Go to financials. Enabled status. So it means it's been enabled over here. And then we will find procurement here. It's also enabled. Order management. It's also enabled. You could see the financials and supply. Where is human capital management? Human capital management is a combination of three offerings: compensation management, and then workforce deployment and workforce development. We'll find all these three options over here, right? So that's how we can find out whether the client has been subscribed or not. Okay. So here, whenever we join in the project, we will be having the implementation user access. They'll provide the username and implementation roles so that we will log into the applications and start doing the setups from the FSM environment, from functional setup manager environment. We are going to do this here. It is. Okay, for all I want to do some setups for the procurement module, I have to select here. And if at all we want to do some setups for order management module, I have to do it from here. But what Oracle says, there is a concept called implementation project. Okay, you can also utilize that. Implementation project. You can also utilize that. Go to task list. Here is implementation project. What is implementation project? Implementation project is nothing but a group of offerings which we want implement for our client. So let me show you how to create one implementation project. Here we have multiple implementation projects. Implementation project will be used to maintain our setups information and just the status and all. Here it is. Okay, let me go for create here. Now I'm going to give the implementation project here. Sony supply chain management. I want to implement only procurement module for the client within 6 months. That's a target I would like to set myself. Let's say April 30, 2024, we would like to complete this. Click next button. The system will show the list of offerings which are available here. Now I can find here it is compensation management, financials, but we want to implement only procurement. Yes, procurement is here. Enable it. Within the procurement, we have multiple sub modules like purchasing module, portal, supplier portal, sourcing module, supplier qualification, procurement contracts. Okay. Which one you would like to go for implement? I just wanted to implement only purchasing module for the client. Within the purchasing, self-service procurement is there. Supplier invoice processing is there. Supplier incentives is there. I would like to go with all three setups here. Now click save and open the project, or save and close. Let me just close this project. I'll show you again how to just log out and log in and choose the implementation project here. Now click done button. Just log out. Now go to user menu, setup and maintenance, FSM environment. Now we can find implementation project here, whatever we created, Sony supply chain management. We can also do the setups from here. Both are same. So we can do the setups from here or directly in FSM environment. Both are same. But if it is from implementation project, management can easily understand the status of the project. This is like almost project management tool. Instead of using some third-party tools to manage the project information, they'll have some project status, how many tasks needs to be completed, how many tasks are pending, who has completed. This all information can be managed and they can overview the status of the project.
So can you also insert some other task in this project?
No. Other tasks we cannot insert. Whatever
Its
the
own.
setups as given by the Oracle, that we can go for configure. If you, for example, right now in this implementation project, procurement is there. After some time, client wants to add the order management also. That we can do it. We can go for select next module. After completion of the procurement, we would like to go for implement order management, then can be selected and start performing. In order management, let's say there are 200 setups we have to perform. So we will do all those. If client says that we want to, setups is nothing but one task, one page where we will be entering the meaningful information, right? So if the client wants to go for add one more, value, then it's going to be another environment. Like if it is a pass environment, we can develop the new pages and we can also add the tasks over there.
Okay. So basically, like, then if there is like things like integrations, or we are
Yes,
bringing in some
that is
legacy data, and that's separate.
yes, that is different.
Okay, thank you.
So this is about how the things can be done over here, how the implementation project will be created here. So the implementation projects are mainly to manage the project information whenever we are implementing to the client over here. We will be performing that. Now click done button. So, but most of the times we'll be doing directly from here. So here itself, we'll choose that corresponding module and we'll search for the task. Let's say I want to implement the approvals for the purchase order document. We'll search for the task, manage requisition approval or purchase order approval or supplier approval process. We'll go for implement that directly. Okay, but the same thing can be done from here also. So both are same. Then why this concept is given by Oracle is, if at all we want to manage the information over here specifically, then it's going to be used here. So we will be having that information here. We'll be having that information over here and it can be done. After some time, if client wants to go for migrate the objects from development to testing instance and testing to production instance, then what we will do is we are going to have the export and import process here. Export and import process we are going to have over here.
Because using project would be much easier, right? It will have all the configuration steps laid down, while here you have to search for all those
There also
configuration
we have to
steps.
search, right? For example, if I want to do the requisition approval, here I have searched with approval. Same even if I go to implementation project here, again we have to search here because navigations, it takes very lengthy names here. So what we'll do is requisition or simply approval. Same keyword, whatever we have used there, that we can get it from here. Requisition approvals.
Okay, but like, the, does this give like because the configuration steps will have dependency, right? Like, okay, your business unit and your approval limits or whatever needs to be set up first, and then this is the next step I have to do. So how do I sequence my steps?
Oh, sequence of setups generally we don't find here. That's what we are going to learn. For example, if at all we want to implement procurement module for the client, so there will be some standard steps we have to follow. Like first we have to
Correct.
configure the BU, then after that common options for payables and all. That we don't find the sequence here. Oracle
Oh,
will not provide that in a sequence. What they do is Oracle, they'll try to give the setups which are having similar characteristics under a particular menu. For example, supplier. Okay, supplier setups comes under the supplier menu like that.
okay.
If I
So
find procurement, very high level, see purchasing configuration here, receiving for procurement setups, receipt accounting setups here, supplier incentive setups, invoice payment setups. Like that, we will find within that corresponding menu. So this is, but we cannot go for that one, right? That's why we have to learn actually. That's what we are going to learn this course when we want to implement the module. What are the sequence of steps we have to perform for the client? In that steps, if based on the requirement, how we can change the logic or setups or the testing options. Those all we will be learning module wise.
okay, might be the implementation guide might have that, the sequence of steps.
Yeah. The sequence will be here random, not sequentially setups we will find. We have to understand these task names we can easily remember. Just if at all we want to work with buyer setup. So I'll just search with buyer. I could see all buyer assignment rules and buyer assignment setups. So I can go ahead with working with that. Fine, guys. About this is general introduction, like Fusion applications. Now you got an idea. Fusion is one of the ERP application, which is cloud-based ERP. Oracle will have the data centers. In the data centers, they'll have the servers. In India, also Oracle has got data centers. One is in Mumbai, another one is in Hyderabad to maintain the data of Indian clients. In every country, almost 38 regions, 38 areas, Oracle has provided this facility. to maintain the data and provide the services to the clients, because obviously they will be expecting that the data center should be located in their local region or local country or territory. So that's why they have opened. Here, once we get the access, and we will go for configure the functional as well as the technical setups, and the client can start working on that. So what we will do is, in our next session, we'll take one real-time scenario and we'll take the requirement and we'll see how it can be done, how it can be processed, what are the setups we have to do, and finally how we have to test. That what we are going to discuss. That we'll see tomorrow. So that will be our final demo session.
Okay, it's going to be the same link.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Let's see you tomorrow. Thank you. And I have already given the Google Drive link for my admin person. You can communicate with them, and I request everyone to subscribe this channel to get the latest updates about the product here. And then you will find today's session also in this particular YouTube channel. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.